Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm the person behind Happy Puppy Truffles, and today's Sunday, so I wanted to kind of show you guys a way of taking some of the traditional origami we've been using and putting it together in an arrangement that you can kind of use in real life. And I know with back to school and everything, one of the things I love doing around this time of year, or I used to when back to school was at this time of year, is, spicing up your desk space a little bit and kind of organizing. It was always a fun time to get new, little desk organizers and cleaning out drawers and those kinds of things, getting ready for the new year, getting all pumped, thinking, yeah, I mean, not like I was excited to study, but, just getting excited because it's fun time. So I thought I'd kind of show you guys just a really simple technique of using this basic box design and how, depending on the size, you can kind of adjust and make your own sort of item desk organizer. Now you can put little paper clips, you can put erasers, things like that inside. You can use it for craft things. You can keep beads and stuff like that in it. So many different ways that we can use it. But just by nesting and using different sizes, you can really kind of create this cool little effect with lots of different boxes all together to create kind of this bigger piece. Now, what we're going to be doing here is using, we're going to make a larger piece with this cool paper that I have here, and then I'm going to make kind of like a little taller kind of canister. I'm going to show you guys how to do that with sort of like a cheating method of folding to get the size that you want. And then some smaller little pieces to go inside. And I would recommend also, if you can get a hold of some cardboard, we'll use that for the bottom of the one taller piece for like the cardboard kind of for pencils and such. But this one is actually just the piece that's always in origami paper. I love these papers, this cardboard, because it's great to save and use for things. I used taunt origami paper for these colors that you see here, the blue and the yellowish green and the red. I used that kind of a taunt paper for that. This particular paper, the blue colored one in the background, is a handmade paper that I bought here in Japan. And then this other blue paper here is actually paper that is from Korea. That's a handmade paper too. So just some fun kind of papers that you can use. So, and then I'm also going to use some craft tape here to kind of finish things off at the end when I use this one. So, but that's just an alternative if you guys are interested. So, what I'm going to be doing actually, let me get this guy out of the way for a second. I would recommend, if you're going to do what I'm doing, you need a big piece of 30 by 30 centimeter for the base. I'm going to be starting with something that's 25 by 25, and depending on how thick your paper is, you could just use one paper. I'm going to actually use 3. I'm going to hide a plain old boring piece of origami paper in the middle, and then those 2 blue will sandwich it on the outside, just so I can make a little more sturdy box. And then I used 15 by 15 centimeter, and I had 2 of those because I had the red and the blue. And then I cut that actually into quarters so that I had 7.5 by 7.5 paper, and that I also had 2 sheets of to make little small nesting boxes. And then if you want to, you can use some craft tape and also some cardboard. But just some things to kind of have if you are going to do this project. So I'll go ahead and put these things to the side, and I'm just going to start off first here by folding my larger piece of paper here into a square. Now this piece is a rectangle, so I do need to first just kind of make sure that it's a square. And the easiest way to make sure that it's a square is to fold it diagonally into a big triangle. And then that edge where it meets is where the square needs to be cut. So I'll cut right here. So I've got my big square piece of paper here, and the box folding technique is pretty simple. You just use some standard folding it in half both ways. And then folding each of the 4 corners into the center. Once you've folded all 4 corners into the center, you're going to take one of these sides and fold it towards the center here. And you want to keep everything nice and flat. And I know this pattern's pretty busy, so it's probably hard to see these creases very well. But if you need help remembering how to make this box, I'll leave a link here so that you can see how to make just this basic box again. But we get those two sides folded over, kind of open everything up, leaving these two flaps right where they are. Then I'm going to take this part and fold it back so that I can get this crease made. And I just do this as a way, this is just my way of doing things, because when I fold up, I don't like that piece to kind of smooch out a little bit. I want to keep it nice where it needs to be. But then you can kind of make sure you're following your creases, and it should line up nice with this creased edge that you see right here to kind of get that side of our box. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side too. So once I've gotten those two sides, it's the side of my box then. And you can kind of put a little pressure on those diagonal creases that are on the side here and pop this up so that everything can lay inside of itself to create a box. Now this particular paper is a little flimsy. I'm kind of counting on the fact that I'm going to be putting a lot of other paper inside of here, finished boxes inside, that it hopefully will keep a good sturdy hold. But one thing I do like to do with this is fold it all together and then just take it apart for a quick second and glue it down, just because this is a finished piece. And I just want to glue right up here at the top of each of the four corners. So you can just get that little triangle of space with some glue. Obviously if you want to put more glue, that's fine, but this is the big part where it needs to have some glue. And then you can just kind of collapse everything back into the box, bringing this side down first, this side down here, bringing these sides up. Try to make a nice little clean spot in the middle where everything comes together. Such a fun paper color. So that's my basic box. Now it's a pretty deep, good sized box, and then if you make those little pieces, the other ones that you see here, you'll see you get these cool kind of little lower sized pieces of place where you can kind of section the area off. Now it's up to you at this point. If you wanted to, you could put a little bit of glue on the bottom of the box and use that as a way to kind of secure it inside. You can also not glue it, and then that way if you want you can adjust things later on. If you have something that you think might be a different size at some other point that you'd like to put in here, you can do that. So we've got half of the box complete. As the last little bit, I'm going to go ahead and create a little piece here that's a little taller, and then I'm just going to leave this part open so that you can kind of see the pattern and have this be as like an open spot that has a little higher wall on it. So this part here is complete. I'm just put it to the side. So I've got my paper here. I've got two large pieces and then this white. I'm just using this because I want to have some thickness to what I'm working with. And if you want to, you can go ahead and at this point kind of put a little bit of glue on some things just to make sure that everything kind of sticks together. Since I am dealing with 3 pieces of paper, I kind of want to make sure that everything lines up good. What we're going to do with this is I'm going to use what I know about making that first box. And what we're going to do is kind of improvise to make our own kind of taller, more rectangular kind of box. Now, you don't need to have any, we're not going to actually finish it off in a fancy way because we're going to kind of cheat and use the tape to make sure everything kind of stays tucked away the way we want it to. You can use this technique in so many ways because it really is kind of useful for making any kind of size canister. You're just going to be using that collapsing and folding method to do this. So I've got this paper that's 25 by 25 centimeters. Now I know that I want the base of where everything is going to be about 5 centimeters because I want it to fit inside my box, and that's how big my little boxes are. Because I want that, I need to find where the 5 centimeter square is right in the middle of this paper. Now, because my paper is 25 centimeters, I actually need to fold this into fifths. So the easiest thing you can do, just because we know the dimensions, I'm just going to fold my paper over here 10 centimeters. So if I kind of look up here, Just gonna get, and I'm gonna do this for all the sides because I want, and that'll give me hopefully a nice little place in the middle that will have if I fold 10 and 10 on each side, that'll leave 5 in the middle. So I'm just kind of going around and folding each of these sides. And then we're just going to do some really basic folds, and I'll show you how we can collapse everything. Now, because my paper is a handmade paper, it's got a tendency to fray. You kind of need to look out for that sometimes with these handmade papers. They do tend to kind of get fuzzy on you. Get that out of the way. So I should have this nice little spot here that's about the same size. Now I have another, this is another box, but you can kind of see this is a 5 centimeter box that I'm not using in this project. I've already glued my other ones down in here, but you can kind of see that fits just right into that spot. So that means we've got the base of our box down. Now, what we've got here is essentially the 4 sides of our container. And using any kind of paper, really, you can kind of create this and then kind of play around with what you get in the end. What I want to do is we're going to be creating a diagonal crease through here. So you've got those creases now, and like I said, you know, we folded all these this way. You want to make sure when you turn things over first to make the diagonal creases so that they go the right way. And then they should just kind of collapse inside really nice. So I get this nice little fold here, and then obviously this side's extending way too far out. So I'm just going to do some really simple quick folding here and just tuck this over so that it's the same as this edge. And this is where you can really just kind of bluff your way through stuff without needing to do things too specific, because later we're going to secure it all with the tape. And if you're having a hard time, you can even use paper clips if you want. I think I have some paper clips. Yeah, I have one. I'm just going to paper clip here to kind of keep things out of the way. I only have 2 paper clips. That's okay. We'll just kind of make do as we do this. But so essentially what I've got here is this kind of simple folded canister. And what you can do is we're going to start off with just some glue, and then we're going to finish off this edge because I have all these layers. It kind of looks kind of yucky. I'm going to use my tape to make it look really nice and finished. So when you glue this off, again, we can kind of just look at each one of these. I want to, and as we do more of these, it gets harder because there's less room. But essentially, I'm going to put some glue right up here because I want this side to lay on top of itself. And then I want this part to lay on top of itself too. If you want to, you can use glue for everywhere. You don't have to. I'm not going to. I'm just going to glue this tab so that it stays where I need it to. And that should give us kind of the beginnings of what we need to keep everything together. It'll make taping it a little easier later. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue again, just on this side, just for fun, to keep it kind of stuck. Fold everything over and glue the tab over. So this is really obviously not something that's completed in any way because the folds haven't been tucked away or anything like that to make a solid, all by itself standing kind of box. So in that sense, it is kind of cheating. But in the sense of getting this finished piece then that you can use to make a rectangular kind of cup shape that you can use for pencils is nice because it gives you the size that you need. So you can kind of see how that came together to create the box that we need. Now, really quick before I go on, I do want to also cut and put in this little piece of cardboard down here at the bottom. So really quick before I finish anything else up, I had that the cardboard from before, and I cut that into the same size as the base of my box, and this is 5 by 5 centimeters. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue in here so that then I can put that inside while everything is still kind of open. There we go. Now I've got the cool stuff up here done, and I just want to finish things off with some tape here. I haven't even opened this up yet. I've never used this tape before, but it's just some craft masking tape. There's so many of these out there now that are really cool looking. So many fun designs. I had a hard time choosing. But this has got like a little bit of a kind of fabric-y feel to it, so that's kind of cool. And I'm just going to try my best to go around and create, you know, the first layer of what I need here. So for example, if I start over here on the side that's not paper clipped, I can just kind of imagine that I can start this by giving myself just a little bit of a border. I don't want to have too much of it sticking out, but we want to keep that uniform as we work our way around if we can. Of course, we also need to just kind of follow the flow of what we've made here too. But and it's nice to use some tape that's a little forgiving if you can. This is a nice tape because it peels off and starts over nice. But when you're using that, especially this kind of paper that I'm using, doesn't like to have stuff taken on and off of it because it's got that quality to it that's a little fibrous. So be careful there. And then we're just going to slowly pinch and roll that down to kind of create a nice solid finish to everything. And if you can, try to separate everything out as much as you can to try to get this to lay flat down as much as we can do. That should give us kind of a cool little finished edge to our pencil box. Now, I went ahead and just kind of popped out the red just for a second because I thought maybe design-wise I liked the idea of them being kind of opposite of each other instead. And that'll create a really nice, strong corner for this pencil piece. So I just popped out the red that I had in there for just a second and left the blue, and instead I'm just going to put this right along the side there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that, of course, and we'll just slide that in. Try to get it, you know, as flush into that corner as you can, of course. And then I've got my little red guy here, which I can then slide in. But it should kind of give you something like this, which is the completed little pencil stand. And like I said, it's just kind of a fun little way to make something to kind of decorate for the back to school time. You can see pencil fits in there good. You can put some paper clip in there. I only have one sad little paper clip, but so just sort of a kind of fun little desk organizer kind of project using just the standard origami box and then kind of playing around with some folding techniques for the top part. But that should kind of give you guys our finished little box, which is our finished project for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.